must not be luck. It's just steady. They won't bury me. They don't know sabi seed.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wendy and today I'll be teaching you how to make chicken chow mein noodles. Now the special thing about this noodles is that we will actually be cooking it 3 times. I know it's a lot of times, but trust me, you will not regret this decision. Stay tuned to see how I prepare this meal. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so before we get started, I'm just gonna go quickly and put my hair back. All right, cool. So I will be going through the series of ingredients that we'll be using today. So in front of me, I have the egg noodles, which is actually the main ingredient. So as you can see, I've actually divided it into 4 parts and I'll show you why. Okay, so the next ingredients that we have is the chicken thigh fillets. Moving on, I have here 1 sliced brown onion. I have 3 eggs. I haven't beaten the eggs, by the way, so just the whole egg in here. Moving on to the next ingredients, I have some spring onions, which I haven't actually chopped in pieces. Reason being is because I want it to act more as a vegetable than it is a garnish. And I also have the pointed sweet capsicum, which I have sliced in bits. And then I also have the Chinese bok choy in here as well. Okay, so moving on to the dark sauces that I'll be using today, and also the oils. I have here the Ayam Pure Sesame Oil. I'm not sure if that's how you actually pronounce it, so yeah, I'm just gonna go along with it anyway. And same branding, I also have the oyster sauce here. And I think this is how you pronounce it, but it's called Lee Kum Ki premium soy sauce. And my absolute favorite sweet soy sauce, it's the ABC sweet sauce, which I'll be using today for the dish. And then the last one, which is, again, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna give it a try. It's the Shaoxing cooking wine. Yeah, and I'll be using that as well for the dish today. As you can see here, I have I have a pot here and I've put in a bit of water to maybe like halfway, and this is just in preparation to actually cook our noodles. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat on and I'm gonna run you through how this is all done. Usually I season my chicken more than we will be doing today, but because we're actually gonna be using it in the noodle dish, I don't want to put too much seasoning in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add the Vegeta and the bicarb soda. Now the bicarb soda is really good as it makes the chicken a lot more tender. The next thing that I'm gonna put in there is actually the cooking wine, and gonna put in a few tablespoons. So I put in 2 tablespoons of the cooking wine. I'm gonna set that aside for later. And I've already washed my hands. I'm just gonna go ahead and actually just mix this all together. Okay, so moving on to the next thing, I'm actually gonna be boiling the water. As you can see, it's already on. I'm gonna turn the heat up a bit so it can boil faster, and then we're gonna go ahead and actually cook our noodles. Okay, so while we have our water here boiling, I've gone ahead and prepared the other stuff that we actually need. So I have here a drainer and just a bowl to obviously get the water into. And what I have here is actually ice water. So this is the first step to actually cook these noodles, and we want to get this right the first time because you don't want to overcook the noodles. So we're gonna pop the noodles in here. As you can see, the steam is coming out, which is exactly where we want it. And then I'm gonna actually put it in ice water, which will actually stop any form of cooking. We don't want to overcook it, as I mentioned before. And then take it out of the ice water and actually drain it. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually pop the noodles in there now.
You don't know why it's going on.
Okay, so as you can see, the steam is coming out, which is exactly how we want the water. What we're gonna do here is actually pop these noodles in here. We're gonna take it out and we're gonna put it in the ice water, which I have already prepared. So make sure whilst the water is boiling, you get these things prepared, so you don't have to go rushing back and forth. Because once we take it out of here, we want to immediately put it into the ice water. This will help stop any form of cooking. So yeah, let's go ahead and actually pop the noodles in here. Okay, so I have with me here tongs, and I'm just going to go ahead and put these noodles into the water. Just gonna go ahead and just separate it so it can evenly cook. Again, make sure we're not overcooking these noodles. So I'm gonna leave it in that water for just a minute and a half. Okay, so it's been cooking for about a minute now. I'm just turning off the stove so it can stop cooking, and then what I'm gonna do is take it out of the pot and put it into the ice water. Oh, sorry, we're gonna take it out of the pot, drain it, and then put it into the ice water. All right, cool. So we've drained the water out of the noodles. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it right into the ice water. As I mentioned before, this will stop it from cooking any further. And just try and separate it so the water can go everywhere. So let it stay here for a few seconds before we drain it again. But make sure you're flipping it and just moving it so the water is getting through all of the parts of the noodles. Okay, I'm happy with that now. I'm just gonna go ahead and actually drain it, and I'll be back. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is separate the noodles. As you saw them before, we're gonna put it in 4 parts. Have you realized that cooked noodles are actually harder to deal with? It's a bit of a struggle town here, but we'll get through. Okay, so as you can tell, I have tried, and as you can see, it's not looking the best, but it's okay because it's not so much of a big deal. And I'm just gonna go set this aside while we prepare for the next item. As you can see here, I have my seasoned wok. Now, if you don't have a wok, you're more than welcome to actually use a non-stick frying pan, which will be totally fine as well. So I have in here 3 tablespoons of oil. Now I'm using vegetable oil for this, as it doesn't actually have any sort of seasoning to it. Now you can tell that the steam is coming out, which is exactly what we need and how we want the pot to be, or the wok to be. I'm gonna go ahead and add the ginger and the garlic to this. Just let it fry for a little bit so it can infuse the heat into the oil. Okay, I'm happy with that. We're gonna go ahead and add the chicken that we seasoned before. Okay, so we're gonna continue to cook this for at least half a minute, and then we're gonna flip it on the other side and allow it to cook for the same amount of time as well. So it's been half a minute. I'm just gonna flip it on the other side. My heat is actually on low, so make sure your heat is on low so it doesn't actually burn the chicken. Now just allow that to cook for half a minute again, and then from there onwards we're just gonna keep stirring it until it's cooked. Okay, so it's been cooking for half a minute. I'm just gonna go ahead and flip it. And then from here onwards, we're just gonna keep stirring it until the chicken is cooked. Okay, so this has been cooking for 5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a plate and set it aside. Then we're gonna move on to the next part of the dish. Now this is what the chicken should look like. Very nice and tender. Okay, so I have actually cleaned the wok. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the oil to the wok. So I have in here 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and then 1 teaspoon of the sesame oil. Again, I'm gonna allow this to cook or heat up until the steam comes out, and then we're gonna go ahead and add the egg to the wok. As you can see, the steam is coming out, which is exactly where we want it to be. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the eggs into it. So I've waited about 30 seconds, and I'm gonna go ahead and scramble it using the ends of my spatula. Make sure you're not using too much force. Again, we don't want to over fry this, so I'm happy with that, and that was about a minute. I'm gonna take it out of here and pop it into a bowl and set it aside. Then we're gonna move on to the next part. I have here a non-stick pan, and what we're gonna do is actually use this to fry our noodles in sections. I like to use the non-stick one as the noodles tend to get really sticky. Okay, so I have my noodles back, which I have set aside to actually dry after draining it and separating it into 4 parts. Well, trying to. And I also have here a spatula, which is plastic, because I will be using a non-stick frying pan, and I don't want to scrape the bottom. So in the pan, I'm actually gonna add in oil to help fry the noodles, which is the second sort of cooking stage for the noodles. Okay, so I have in here vegetable oil. I'm just gonna go and put 1 tablespoon in here, and we're gonna spread it around evenly. Set this aside. If we need more, we're gonna go ahead and just add to it. So I'm just gonna swirl this around so it can get everywhere. So using the tongs, I'm actually gonna get 1 section of the noodles, and we're gonna go ahead and fry it. Make sure to spread this around. Just spread it around, let it fry. What we're trying to do here is actually get some texture. So you will see what I mean by texture. Your wok is just getting too sticky at the bottom, go ahead and add more oil to it, but I won't be, as my pan is quite alright to keep frying like this, and I don't want it too oily either. Alright guys, so as you can tell, I have gone ahead and actually fried all of these. and I've sectioned it back into 4 parts again so you can see it well. I have my wok on here, which the steam is already coming out. I have in here 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it in there. Make sure you get everything out. As you can see, I'm using the same spatula that I used for the egg. I don't need to really wash this. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop in the onions and let it fry. And as you all know, the white part of the spring onion is always the hardest to cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in with the onions as well and fry it together. Okay, so that's all in. I'm gonna stir it in together. I'm just gonna fry this for about 30 seconds and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the next ingredients. Okay, so 30 seconds up. What I'm gonna do is bring back the chicken and I'm gonna pop the chicken back in here and refry it. The chicken's been in for about 30 seconds. What we're gonna do is bring back the noodles into the wok. So this will be the 3rd cooking for these noodles. And you really get to see why we had to do this towards the end. I just like the whole crispiness and texture that it adds to the noodle. Okay, so now the noodles are in here. We're gonna go ahead and stir it for a bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and then add the dark sauces to it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add all the sauces in here and I'm gonna run through all of it with you. So I'm ready now to put the dark sauces in the wok. The first thing that I'm gonna add is half a cup of the Chinese cooking wine. Just gonna spread that evenly. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is add the sweet soy sauce. So the ABC one. The next one will be the soy sauce, just the normal soy sauce that I showed you from the beginning. And we only need 1 tablespoon of that. And then the next one that we need is the oyster sauce. Again, we just need 1 tablespoon of that. Now what we're gonna do is bring the heat back up and then we're gonna begin to actually stir the wok. We're gonna stir this for about 20 seconds. 20 to 30 seconds really, and then we're gonna add the vegetables to this so they can cook together. Just to top it off, I'm gonna put the eggs back in as well. We're gonna turn the heat down and then we're gonna fry this for a few more minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of salt. And just sprinkle just some black pepper on it, and then that's it. And that's enough. Again, we're gonna stir that in and just allow it to sit for about 2 minutes, and then that will be done. Okay, so this is absolutely done and ready to be served. But I do like my noodles a lot more darker, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in a bit more of the soy sauce. This is very much an optional thing, but you don't have to do this. and it looks good, it tastes good just as it is. You don't need to add anything else, but like I mentioned before, I just like it darker, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drizzle a little bit of the soy sauce onto this. And that will do. I'm gonna stir it and I'm gonna serve it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Bye.